What's up, guys? The video for finishing the cabin is up. This is it. It's just part one of a two-part video. It was over an hour long. It was just way too long. So enjoy part one. Part two coming soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bellwether Fields. So we are in crunch time for finishing this house. By the way, I want to thank everybody that's watching these videos. We've got a lot of new faces here. Just to summarize for people that are a little bit new to the channel, Christina and I bought this cabin in the fall of 2016. And the main construction started in June of 2017. And then to save money, Christina and I took over everything, starting fall of 2017, October, November, right around there. And we've been doing it ever since. So we were doing weekends and holidays for working. So it was very painstakingly slow. We lived 3 hours away at the time. But then COVID hit in 2020 and we moved here mid-March last year and haven't really looked back. We live here full time now, and it's kind of an ordeal to, finish this house. Christina hasn't been able to do a whole lot during the pregnancy just because she felt terrible. So I've been doing a lot of work on my own, and we're also living in a construction zone as we go. That's just a little bit difficult, but we've been managing. We've been kind of living along and getting it done. We're almost there. So thanks for following along with us. We have given ourselves 3 weeks to get this done, and we picked 3 weeks because that's the point at which reasonably Christina might be going into labor at that time. So we want to be ready at the start of that time, which is 3 weeks from now. So we have quite a collection of things left to do, and it's going to require like staggering things. So it's not like do one project and then complete it, then move on to the next project and complete it. It's like I have to have 3 or 4 projects going at the same time because we're, as you'll see, dealing with things that have, cure rates and dry times and stuff like that. But so the main ones that we're doing are the last of 2 antique windows that we have to do, and they're the biggest ones. And I think we have our process nailed down for that. We've learned that if you've been watching our Vlogmas videos, you've learned that the paint doesn't dry so fast, but we've set up some processes to try to speed that along and make that efficient. And we hope to have these done and installed at the end of these 3 weeks, which should be pretty doable. We've also got some plaster patching to do upstairs. Last summer, we were surprised to find sparks coming out of our wall, and they were like singeing Christina at her work desk. So that's not good. We had an electrician come out. He was a little stumped as to what to do, but we think we've got it figured out. We just need to start the process. So the first part of that process is I'm going to be putting some diamond metal lath up into the holes that we had to cut to get to the electrical. We're gonna leave that up for a few days and just see what happens. We wanna make sure, because we're not exactly sure why it was sparking. There was a short in a light that was connected to that. So, it may be that, but the electrician didn't seem to think that that would cause arcing to happen. And so it's possible that it was the conductivity of the metal lath that was holding that plaster in place that was playing a part, maybe with some moisture from the air unit that's right above it. So we got that part taken care of. So there's no more moisture really coming from that HVAC unit, that mini split. So we're just gonna leave it up for a few days and just make sure it doesn't start sparking again before we put more plaster up, because we don't wanna go through this whole process again, or even potentially burn down our house. Now, another thing, and I'll show you, so this wall over here that I did and painted, I just had some trim to do, some baseboard trim to do, but I hadn't noticed that there's a lot of mudding on one of the seams, and I didn't catch it. The lime paint goes on really dark, so I just didn't see it on the first coat. I saw it when I was putting on the second coat. I was looking at it and it was super apparent, and I was like, oh God, that's not good. We can't leave that. As you can see, it's just a big glob of mud that just needs to be sanded down. So what I'm gonna try to do is take an electric sander, sand that down, reprime it, and then just paint the whole wall again a couple times with lime paint. So that sucks. That's a little bit of a process. I thought I was done, but no such luck. I also need to, we're gonna finish building the mudroom room, and we've got one of the barnwood walls done for that. We just need to complete the other one. So again, part of the process, I need to go out to the yard. I need to pick out some of the planks with maybe an extra or 2 thrown in to cover the width of the wall that we want to do. And those need to acclimate. So at first I need to power wash all of them. I need to paint on I might paint on like this insect stuff that gets the wood boring insects, kills those off just in case they might be in there. And then bring them inside. So they have to acclimate for at least 3 days before we can actually start to use them. So gonna have to get that process started this week. If you haven't already, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. All right, the first thing I'm starting on today are the antique windows. So we've been through this process now 2 other times. We've done 5 windows in the summer of 2019, and then we did 2 windows just before Christmas this year. And the process is not very easy. What's nice is that we are using all natural products. We're using mostly linseed oil paint, using actual linseed oil. We're using linseed oil putty, shellac. These are all natural products that once the windows are done, are gonna protect these windows for the next, hopefully, 30 to 50 years. Maybe a little touch up here and there. So that's the benefit. These do last forever. They do let the wood breathe. That's the main benefit. So instead of like an acrylic or latex based paint that doesn't allow the wood to breathe, which promotes rot, these do allow the wood to breathe, and your windows will last a lot longer. So the process is cool. It's just kind of difficult to do unless you have like a dedicated studio space to do it. We found it to be a little bit difficult, especially in a small house. While we're getting ready for a baby, it's all been a little bit arduous. So, but we're gonna go ahead and knock these out because we have to. So these are the windows in question. These are the 2 biggest windows that we have. And they've been up since the fall of 2017. They've actually been, on the window, just kind of screwed into place. And they have taken a beating. They were not in good shape to start with, and they're in terrible shape now. Look at this. Man. Typically, the first step to doing windows is to just coat everything in linseed oil and just let it sit for a day. What I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to get as much of this putty out as I possibly can. One of the best things you can do, in my opinion, is get the window panes out as quickly as possible. It makes scraping everything else way, way easier to do. You're not worried about the glass. So I'm going to try to speed that along a little bit, get as much putty out as I can, and then do the linseed oil, and then we'll go ahead and let it sit for a day. Okay, so got phase 1 done. Got the linseed oil in, saturating into the panes, conditioning the wood. It's going to make it a lot easier to strip. So I'm just going to let this sit overnight, and then probably try to get close to 24 hours, and then go ahead and get it done. But it's getting soaked right in. Awesome. We interrupt this scheduled window scraping because I think Mango has something for us. Hey, Mango.
Barely fit up there. And then she's like,
What you got there?
trying to fall.
Oh my God, that thing's huge. Good job, Mango. Let's go together. I was going to wait until tomorrow to take out the glass because there's, on the other side, this is the side I scraped. On the other side, there's still paint lining, and I found on the other window some of the panes of glass were sealed in, but the paint was getting hard to get them out. Get a line into that paint so I could wiggle the window free, and these are so big that it's going to be really easy for me to break them. So I was kind of concerned about that. I thought maybe, I want to just maybe scrape it, put some linseed oil on it, soften it up a little bit, and see if I can get at it tomorrow. But as soon as I flipped this one over, this piece of glass popped out, and this one's just waiting to go too. So I might put a little more work into that. So that worked out pretty well. I ended up getting all the panes of glass out. I got them all labeled right here as to which window they are and where were they, so I got them numbered. Very important to label those so you can just fit them back in seamlessly next time. And over here, I've got, so I had the hinges still on here. I went ahead and took those off and labeled those so I remember where those are. And so this is how they're gonna go up on the actual window frame. So that's the left panel, that's the right panel. And I've got it all brushed up with linseed oil and it's just gonna be ready to go tomorrow. So we'll pick this up again. I've got a lot of scraping ahead of me. This was maybe 4.5 hours. Tomorrow might be double that. Cause I've got, look, all of these like little ridges in here. I have to get those out individually. Many, many, many passes. So, good times. All right, just 5.5 hours later, here we go. Got the window scraped. It's not pretty yet. It's gonna look much better after I sand. There's still a lot of like really clingy, gluey kind of material stuck to it, and if I go after it too hard, it just rip out the wood. So I'm gonna sand it down. Just to show you, here's the tail of 2 windows. Here's the other window. I gotta do this bad boy tomorrow. So that's the before. That's the after. Okay, number 2. All done, all sanded. And the next step, this is the shellac I was telling you about. This is just shellac flakes that have been dissolved in denatured alcohol. This should have, I'm told by my professional wife here, that this should be kind of like a maple syrup kind of consistency. And so I'm just gonna paint it to the inside of the rabbet. So the rabbets are these pieces, these wood pieces here. And specifically this part. And so the glass panes go, in, there's like a little bit of wood putty lined in here, and then the glass panes go in, and then you put more putty on top, and that's your window glazing, right? This is where that goes. And so to protect the wood from rot, we're going to, and protect it, from the putty itself, this is what that's for. And just to make sure that I've got all the dust out, I'm just gonna take this damp rag and just make sure. Still a little bit of like dust particulate from the sanding in there. All right, the windows are shellacked. Always want to use that in an actual sentence. It's always like, the Washington football team got shellacked by the Dallas Cowboys this year twice. So it's actually kind of funny to use the word. That's what I did. I shellacked the windows. Got these all done. We're squared away and ready for glazing. Okay, I'm going to show you the process that we're doing here right now. So we are painting, this is a linseed oil paint onto the rabbets that we have just glazed. And we're doing this so that we can create a seal. The paint acts as a seal over top of putty so that you have an extra layer of protection there so that things don't get in there and rot out the wood or rot out the putty or whatever. And the technique we're doing right now is a little different from what we were using. Previously, we would just paint like all over the place and then go back later with like a little bit of soap and a razor blade and just kind of trim the edges to wherever we thought. This time, we saw this on somebody's feed, and I'll have to get back to you with the name of the person, but somebody who restores antique windows for a living, and we were watching him do it on Instagram, and he was just like getting a little bit of paint and painting the straight line on there so you don't have to go back later, and that's what we're doing this time. And it's very tedious when you're not used to it. This is, you know, my first crack at this. So I'll show you guys what it looks like to do. And you got to try not to start with too much excess. So you paint a little bit onto the putty to kind of get things started. See how it kind of pulls there a little bit? And then you kind of work your way down and across so you don't have a puddle or a drip. And you can see I've probably made that mistake if you look elsewhere in the window. Already, that's how I know. You want just a little bit on the glass. Paint does this thing where it is drying in slightly different shades. It did this on the last couple windows. We just kind of shrug and just keep going. That's where, you know, it's just something inherent in the paint. We're not going to wait for a new shipment of paint to come in, and but it's gonna look good. Here, I'll show you what it looks like when it dries all the way. Not bad. That's what these are gonna look like. All right, so I'm gonna set up a fan. We're gonna keep the temperature in here a little warmer than we've been keeping it, and fingers crossed we can get these to dry in 30 to 48 hours. We are ready to do the other side of these windows. The red paint, the second coat, took 3 whole days to dry, and that set us back, and we're just gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do this. In terms of actually getting them up onto the window. It's something I need Christina for. She's got these monkey hands that are really skilled at doing small things like putting on latches on windows. So, so what we're doing, as you can see, I gotta trim off. There's some putty excess. I'm just getting rid of that. And then got a couple things to scrape here and there. Some of the shellac got on there where it shouldn't be. So just gotta scrape that off. And then we paint. Now, the other thing I did that does not make for scintillating video is I uncovered the floor and scrubbed it really good. So now we got most of our floor uncovered, just got a little bit of paper while we finish the paint job on those windows. And now we've got our cabinets done. And the only thing left to do really is to do the backsplash, which we're not gonna get to as part of our phase one done before the sprout gets here. But we will do it at some point soon.
Okay, so a lot of people have been asking where the baby's gonna sleep and if the baby's gonna have a room. Kind of. We're gonna make a nook here. So this is the wall the stairs are behind here. So this is the wall that is gonna be part of the baby's room, and then we're closing in the mudroom, so we're gonna make this little like nook space. So we're gonna show you at the end of this video pretty much where the baby is going to be hanging out a lot of the time when Sprout arrives. So then we'll have a mudroom too, which is also great.
Yeah, so this is the area that we've been trying to describe as the mudroom. That's the hobbit door there, leads to the outside underneath the new porch. And so the wall is gonna go right here, the wall that we're building today. And that is going to enclose the mudroom on this side and baby's room on the other side. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create another piece just like this, but running perpendicular to it, right along the floor, right in there. And we've got a lot of lumber outside in the yard, as you probably know. So we're just gonna rip a piece off of something that we've already had. We're gonna form up the mudroom wall. We've already got one of the walls up for kind of like the corner that we're gonna build. This is gonna be the second one. And what I've gotta do is I've gotta try to get my best wood that I can, the best wood pieces that I have. So I've selected probably twice as many as I really need. And I'm just gonna cut each one down to size roughly. I'm gonna leave a little extra. And then I'm going to power wash each one, and we'll select the ones that look the best, because it's really hard to tell right now which is the good and which is the bad. Oh man, what a bummer. It cut the camera cut out for some reason. Maybe my phone took a call, I'm not sure, but that would have been pretty sweet. Well, I've got them all sized up. I'm gonna put them back in the shed and wait until tomorrow to wash them off. I'm gonna try to get to that as soon as I can. It's gonna be a little warmer tomorrow because it's just gonna freeze right out here. I've already been dealing with frozen paint today, so let's not deal with frozen other things. But this is good progress. So while Christina was inside doing those windows that you saw, I was outside power washing these boards. So these are going to become the new barnwood wall. I've got them dried. I'm just going to take them inside to get them up to temperature, and then then we'll be able to use these later on this weekend, I think, to build that barnwood wall that will complete our mudroom, which would be nice. It would have been a really cool process for you guys to see. It's too bad we only have one camera. But like, as you can see, I mean, they were filthy. Absolutely gross. And I mean, it's just world of difference now. They look like cool aged barnwood. So here, if you've watched our top 5 things that we wish we knew before we started building a log cabin, or having a log cabin, we talked a lot about things not being square and how like troublesome that can be. Well, we're trying to put this support up, and this beam right here is twisted. It's tilted. And so that leaves the gap right here that now we have to solve. So it's like, this is gonna take us like an hour or 2 out of our groove today. It's going to add that much time to what we're doing. That's what we're saying. When it's not square, not plumb, not level, this is the kind of stuff that happens and just like kills your day, because now you have to problem solve something that doesn't have a good answer probably. So, okay, solution simple. We just cut it down. We ripped the board, ripped it so that there's less opportunity for that twist to show up. So there we go. We wanted it to be flush with the bottom of the beam here, but that's just not going to look very good. So there's our fix. Now the fun part, we get to pick out our boards.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's the first one.
I think this one, because it is not too wide and it's not too thick, so it'll be easy to handle.
Okay.
That's the first one. And it's kind of pretty.
All right, cool. Let's cut them down. Used a scribe tool to try to get that angle right, and it's kind of hard to use because it's very easy for the for the angle to or just changes really easy. So we got this. So I'm going to use a handsaw. The handsaw to me is easier to use than the jigsaw. The jigsaw is really actually hard to cut this hard barnwood with the jigsaw. Wait, something's emerging.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
So I'm in the baby's room.
And I'm in the mudroom.
Look at that. More boards need to go up here, obviously. Picture more boards.
Yeah, we'll get that in tomorrow.
But yeah, this is gonna be cool.
Here's our notch solution that we did. We scribed. That turned out great. Some of the footage cut out because I'm having some technical difficulties, but this is our progress for today. I'm very pleased that we used these boards. These have been hanging out in our front yard for a while, and I'm just glad we got to use them before they totally deteriorated.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think I think it's turned out pretty good. Very happy with that cut.
Yeah, it's kind of a generous little nook over here, actually.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, okay.
I'm in the mudroom.
And I'm in Sprout's room.
Yeah, so little space here for his little sleeping pack and play area. You can put up shelving or like decorations or whatever.
Yeah, this would be like his little sleeping nook.
Yeah, I think it's good. Mm-hmm.
And then just a hop, skip, and a jump up to our room upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so more to come. But at least he's getting his little place. His little place in the world. The great pumpkin. It's good, Jacob. That looks good.
I have a bunch of guys that just like to honk when they drive by. The Acme guys are the best.
What?
The Acme fireplace guys.
Oh, you keep seeing them?
Oh my god, I love it. Every time they drive by, they honk and wave.
That's so funny.
It's so great.
You got it? There you go.
Okay. Couldn't film us putting in this other cross piece because it's just too tight. But let me show you what we did here. So we cut this piece to fit, and it does barely. So we got that screwed in. We got a couple of pocket holes on the other side. No, they're right here. It's just really hard to see. Right there. Right there. So that's all secured. So now we're just gonna do the same thing on this side that we did on this side. I gotta make this cut first. So let's do that. It's the Great Pumpkin. Dun. All right, so this is our little baby nook. Right here, this is where Sprout is going to lay Sprout's little head. And the other side is our mudroom. Very happy with this. Turned out great. You happy with it?
Is it Sprout ready?
It is Sprout ready and Sprout approved.